All right, everybody. Welcome to the greatest show of all time. If you are an author, a speaker, a coach, an entrepreneur, an expert, a consultant, a business owner, then you're in the exact right spot, because this is the place for you where I talk about how to be more, do more, and have more. And today I have one of the ultimate more guys operating today. He lives in the time zone called early. And his name, of course, is the one and only Grant Cardone. Grant, thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the greatest show of all time.
Bro, I love the name of the show. Awesome. And I'm a big fan. So thank you for having me.
You are one of those people, Grant, that I talk about all the time, because you are what I call a celebrity entrepreneur. You're really getting close. You're getting close to really breaking through. However, you're doing what all celebrity entrepreneurs do. You do the 5 things that I teach. You go on TV, you speak at very important places. The most important place you've spoken at recently was Marlins Stadium and Mandalay Bay Arena, right?
Yep.
Yep. You hang out with major celebrities. I've seen you in pictures and on stage in videos with Snoop, with Martha Stewart, with Kevin Hart, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You publish best-selling books and you win awards. I see you on the list of this one to follow, the most influential, that one. You're doing all the celebrity entrepreneurship things I talk about. And I want to ask you, to talk about your experiences as a celebrity entrepreneur and what that has done for you and how you decided to do it.
Well, number one, I've never sought out to be a celebrity. These things that you're talking about, one thing you left off that list that I think your audience would find extremely interesting is I have companies that make money. And money is a very confusing subject. It certainly was for me as a kid, and something that had huge hooks in me. And I think has the same thing for most people today, whether they want to admit it or not, particularly today with what's going on in the global economic crisis that we're in, is that money is very, very important. One thing that I've done in my career is make sure that I built, whether it was my speaking business or my books, my training and consulting, my real estate, is to make sure that those businesses are profitable, they're prosperous, they're flourishing, and they're expanding, and that they have good, clean balance sheets, so that I can one, continue on into a very long career, and then maybe leave something as a legacy when I'm done showing up early.
I get it. It's definitely important. One of the things I wrote about in my book, what they teach you at the Wharton Business School, is that you have to have a high quality business. Like, that's a basic assumption, is that you do that. But look, there's a lot of guys like you who have high quality businesses that make money, but they ain't like you. They're not speaking at very important places, hanging out with celebrities, going on TV, writing best-selling books and winning awards. They're making money, but they're not doing it like a celebrity entrepreneur. And that's really what's so amazing about you, is like, one of the things I've heard you say is, what's your biggest problem, Grant? What's everybody's biggest problem?
Nobody knows me.
Nobody knows who you are. That's the problem. And
yeah,
the only way I can see to fix that problem is to do what you have done so well, which is to be a celebrity entrepreneur in the eyes of customers and prospects.
Yeah, I just, in 2008, when the economy collapsed, I realized I had 3 little companies. 2 of them were doing fairly well. I was investing the proceeds from that, any surplus, into real estate at the time. No one knew that I was investing in real estate. It was completely quiet, almost secretive business, where I took the proceeds or the surpluses from the 2 companies, which was consulting and a training company, and a speaking business, and I would take that extra surplus money and invest it quietly into real estate. When 2008 happened, and the economy then would spend the next 18 months in a downward spiral, the first 2 businesses were handcuffed. No one was hiring speakers. Consultants were cut off the list. Training and education, while it was needed and necessary, was not affordable. My real estate actually got me through that moment. But what I discovered at that time was as a speaker, an author, and an expert, I had no real public awareness. No one knew me, okay? And it became very, very clear to me very quickly that the biggest problem was not the economy at the time. The biggest problem was the economy had shown to me, you know, Warren Buffett says, when the tide goes out, you find out what people are wearing. And when the economy went out in 2008, 9, and 10, what happened was I became aware, not of a bad economy, but that I had a broken business plan, in that I had gotten extremely good in one vertical and even dependent upon that one vertical. I was so dependent upon it that when it collapsed, so did my business. And the mistake I had made, I had not gone horizontal, making sure people other than that one industry knew me, and knew me by name, knew me because I was there all the time, knew me because I was showing up. Not so much the celeb stuff like Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart, John Travolta, Floyd Mayweather, Dana White, these people that were at my last event, Steve Harvey at the event before that. I mean, all these people that I've paid to be on, paid and or had a relationship with to be on stage with me at our 10X Growth Conference. I mean, all that came a lot later. Maybe it should have come sooner. Maybe I would have, you know, stoked the fire a lot faster doing that. But yeah, it's been a slug out for me, like because I did not know this. I mean, a super easy way to hack that I think you discovered long before I did was to get connected to people that have influence, that have power, and that have some kind of familiarity, social familiarity.
So like buying celebrities to come to your event.
You know, or partnering with. I think collaborating with is better than buying, because the people that I have at my events, it's not like I got to have a lot of people there with just money. Money will buy almost anything, right?
Right.
It won't buy happiness, but it'll buy almost anybody to show up at an event. You know, some of the people that showed up at my last event, they called and said, Dana White, for instance, hey, Grant, I got your number from so-and-so. I want to come by your event. Well, he wasn't paid. He wasn't on the rostrum. He wasn't on the card. We never promoted him. Snoop Dogg, I never promoted Snoop Dogg. I didn't promote Floyd Mayweather being there. I did not promote John Travolta being there. These are people that I was collaborating with that believe in my movement, believe in this big 10X, big think, you know, go big or go bigger concept. Yeah. The brand fits with what they're doing and where they're going and how they want to influence the world. So they chose to be involved with me.
Hey, everybody knows you for 10X and knows you as a big thinker. What's your best advice to people today to be able to continue to think big, even in the middle of what's going on today?
Well, you're being convinced every second of every day to contract. Like it is, you had a plan in 2020, January 1, 2020. I want to just bring everybody back 4 months ago. Just 4 months ago, you woke up, it was January 1st, 2020, and you had decided that this was going to be the best year you ever had. And then somewhere around mid-March, third week in March, COVID-19 hit. The idea that you would be working remote would follow a week later. Then there were masks and ventilators and hospitals and Wuhan and bats and you're being convinced to contract. It's been phenomenal to me to watch how easily America has been convinced to stay home. Like I would have never thought, had you asked me in January, do you think you could ever convince American entrepreneurs, American business owners, people that have leases, employees, payrolls, customers, obligations in the workplace, that they will stay home every day for 6 weeks? I'd be like, under no condition could that happen. There would be mass riots in this country. Yet America, the land of the brave and the home of the free, everybody went and sat in the dugout. And I'm not saying they did the right thing or the wrong thing. I'm just saying it shocks me how easily we all got scared to stay at home. And so my advice to people is get back to work. And this is going to be tough. I would tell people three things right now. Number one, this is going to be the most difficult economy you have ever pushed through, ever in your lifetime. I have been preparing for this economic turndown since 2008. For 12 years, I've been prepping myself, my product line, my inventory, my name, my brand, everything to be able to expand into this contraction. I thought it was going to happen 6 years ago, frankly, 2015 to 2016. I'm 4 years late. But number one, I would tell you, look, this is going to be extremely difficult. Number two, you will survive this. And that's the bad news. The bad news is you're going to survive it. There's no way out of this deal, Clint. You're going to get through it. You will not be able to die. You probably will want to die. Many will feel like they're dying, but they're not. Okay. And the third thing is, look, if you're going to get through it either way, now your question is, are you going to get bigger or are you going to get smaller? Because that's your only two choices. In 2020, when you said, hey, this is going to be the best year, everybody I talked to, I was in front of 25,000 people in January in 7 cities. By poll, 99% of them said this is going to be the best year of my life. And now it's not going to be. Okay. So now they're being talked out of that decision they made in January. And all I'm saying to you is at the end of this year, at the end of 2020, you will not be the person that started 2020. You're either going to be bigger and better, or you're going to be smaller and more contracted. And that's really up to people making a decision today, tomorrow, next week, next month, all throughout the year, and making sure their team is making a decision to get bigger in this contraction, expand into the contraction, use the energy of the contraction, disrupt this process of getting smaller, and this idea that you got to be smaller, you got to be laid off, you got to make less money, you can't get known, no one's speaking, there won't be live events. We're doing events in July, August, September, and October, and I'm trying to get November and December booked. And we will do Mandalay Bay in February of 2021, regardless of what's going on in the world. I have every intention of doing every one of those events. Obviously, I got to comply with whatever law is going on at that time, but I have every intention of doing live events, shoulder to shoulder, people touching one another, no mask. I'm going back to work.
Yeah. I got events scheduled. I had to reschedule my June. I got an event scheduled with Dr. Oz, Dr. Drew, Surgeon General, Patch Adams, NASA astronaut. That was going to be June 12, 13, 14 at the New York Academy of Medicine. I'm moving that to August, but then I got stuff coming up in London in September that I'm not planning on moving. I got Nigel Farage at the London Stock Exchange in September. That's going to be pretty freaking awesome. So I'm with you there. I think we got to get it.
We have 2,000 seats sold for a July event.
Got it. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. Hey, what are 3 things that you do every day, Grant Cardone, you yourself, that you do in your mind or in your body so that you can continue to have your positive attitude and be able to think bigger and expand into the contraction?
Well, the first thing I do, but the daily rituals right now are more important than they've ever been. Like way more important than last year. Last year, you could get away with a lot of stuff. You can't get away with anything now. Every weakness will get magnified now. So number one thing I do, the most important thing is to wake up. I'm like, let me get that first thing out of the way, okay? Now, what I try to do is I try to beat the sun up. So the first part is part 1 and part 1A, is I try to beat the sun up. I try to wake up before the planet rolls to where the sun becomes obvious. The second thing I'm going to do each day is write my goals down. The third thing I'm going to do is get a workout in that order.
Are you spending money differently now?
Money is a very interesting, it is probably my most favorite topic of everything that I talk about. Okay. I've been warning people for years now about their money, and cash is trash. It was trash last year. It's even more trash this year. I know a lot of people out there thinking about, man, you really want to have cash right now. Cash is king right now. You want cash. Actually, you don't want cash. What you want is assets that are making you money. So when I get to the office, the ritual, by the way, my morning rituals then become my office rituals. So when I get to my office, I have my own set of rituals when I get to the office. The first thing I look at every single day when I get to the office, if I'm on the road, it gets sent to me. If I'm in my office, it gets delivered to me, is my cash accounts, my Every account that I have, they're reserves of cash. The reason I want to look at that every day, Clint, is I want to know how to get rid of it. I'm literally trying to get rid of cash because cash by itself is useless. This is what I would tell people about money. You're going to be convinced, persuaded, you're going to be tempted and sold on the idea to save money right now. Saving money has never done this and will not do this going forward. Saving money will not ensure your survival. Okay, saving money is a process that has been sold to the middle class by the banks. And saving money could not create wealth. It does not buy opportunity. You cannot expand your business saving money. Saving money by itself will never and has never created financial freedom. So people need to relearn the money game right now. When I was growing up, my mom, she could save money and she could earn 10%. That same bank account today will pay her 0.063. That's not 6%, by the way. That's 0.6%.
Yep.
So it would take her 60 years to earn what she used to earn in 1 year. So I would tell people today is this, okay? Number one, you need to learn that there's no shortage of money on this planet. There's massive. There's more money today than there was 3 months ago. Yep. There's more money today, not less. Money has not been destroyed. It's actually being manufactured as we speak. It is being created, okay? It's being fiat. It's a fiat currency. There should be more of it. And everyone here right now watching should be able to get more money this year. Number two, once you get it, you have to keep the money, store the money so that the banks don't rip you off and take it from you with their 401k temptation, the IRA temptation, the stock market temptation. Take that money. And then number three is take that money that you stored. You didn't save it. You stored it, and make sure you invest in assets that cannot be disrupted, cannot be destroyed, that assets that create cash flow going forward, and only spend money that you earn from passive income, not earned income. This is great advice, by the way, for the coach or the speaker. You and I both know so many unbelievably talented speakers that died broke, that never took the time to reinvest their money.
Yeah.
That were 85 years old and still traveling to Taiwan to pick up $15,000. It's a shame how many speakers have not learned how to actually get their money. The money that you were paid to speak, you traded time for money, and then you never figured out how to get that money to take care of you when you couldn't go out and speak or didn't want to anymore.
You know Ron LeGrand? You know who that is?
No, I don't.
He was a real estate seminar speaker. He would go sell real estate seminars. And I heard him say, anybody who thinks that going to speak and getting paid a check for your time does not understand the speaking business. Would you agree with that?
I'm probably one of the, I don't actually consider myself a public speaker, even though I have been, I've done extremely well in that space.
Right. What do you consider yourself? I'm a writer who speaks. What are you?
I'm a real estate investor and a business owner. Mm-hmm. So we have 7 businesses here. They did $155 million last year. And then we have a real estate company that bought $860 million worth of real estate. There's almost $2 billion worth of assets. We paid out $20 million in distributions last year alone. That's what I think about. Like if you I had a person, I was paid in Bitcoin to go speak at a gig because they offered me some money. I'm like, what else you got? What else you got other than money? And because I was really looking for the opportunity more than money. You can only pay a speaker so much. And then it's like, I can't even make sense of it. They paid me in Bitcoin. Okay. That Bitcoin's worth about $1.2 million today. That was one of the most successful speaking gigs I had where I was speaking for someone else. Yeah. We run events, like we did an event at Mandalay Bay last year. I didn't pay myself a speaking fee. I paid other people speaking fees.
You paid to speak.
Huh?
You paid to speak.
I paid to speak?
Yeah.
Well, no, I did. It was my event, right? So we owned the event.
Bay, right?
I paid $7 million to run that event.
Yeah, you paid $7 million to speak at that event.
Yeah, I paid $7 million. So anybody, but there's people that paid 20 grand for a seat. So I ran that event. To me, you know, I want to run. I want to own the event.
Yeah.
Now we are probably one, maybe there can't be two or three in the entire world events that actually make money. Most of these events, as you know, lose money on the front end. That event probably made us $8 million, maybe $9 million net. So when we opened the doors to that event on a Friday morning, we were already profitable. So in the event, I can deliver an unbelievable event and not have to sell people. You know, I don't have to say, come see Shamu. And then you got to wait for 4 or 5 hours to listen to sales pitches before Shamu comes on. By the way, I'm not opposed to anybody selling anything at any time, as you know.
Right.
I'm very pro sell everyone. But when the event makes money from the get-go, you can offer extremely high quality, great lighting, great production, great content, high entertainment value event. So we do one large event a year and probably another 4 to 6 local events where there's, 500 to 600 people per event. The big events are, 18,000 people, 15,000, 12,000. And then this year I'll do 50 free events around the country where I'm going there literally to be a public service announcement and a free event. I say it's free to the public, but it costs us probably $3 or $4 million a year to run those events. But they're the right thing for me to do to continue to generate my legacy.
Right on. Grant Cardone, you say that you are a business owner who goes and speaks. What amount, you're using speaking as a marketing tool then, yes?
Well, I mean, what am I using speaking for? The world's changed so much with the speaking gig. Like I used to, when I was 30 years old, 31 years old, I was going around the country, knocking on doors, doing sales presentations. And the presentation was, hey, give me 20 minutes in front of your people and I'm going to show them a way to sell more of your product. I'll increase your product sales by 50% today. It's a free meeting. I just knew if enough people would let me talk to them for 20 minutes, I could sell them this thing that I was doing 2 weeks later, which was a 2-day event. I would sell them the 2-day event while I was there. Maybe 10 or 15% of the people would buy it. I spent 85% of my time giving away free events, learning my craft, really speaking, persuading, talking to people, getting attention, and then figuring out how to convert, in my case, a very low percentage because I wasn't very good at it. And the next thing you know, I was doing this 200 times a year. But I lived on the road 300 days of the year. There was one time where I did not come home for 18 months. I think it was 17 and a half months. I did not come home over the weekend. My business wasn't making money. I didn't know what I was doing. In most cases, I was spending more money than I was making, and I could not afford the trip back home. So I would just stay out on the road and go to the next place. So back then it was like I was speaking to build an audience. I was knocking on doors to build an audience, to get known. Today, fast forward today, here we are with Instagram and Facebook, YouTube. I'm like, we got what you're doing today with a Zoom. Today, I can reach. We did a right after the economy crashed. We did an event 5 days later. There was 57,000 people at that event. Online, delivered to them, almost zero preparation, zero money invested. But like you say, I had to have an audience. People have to know you. And the punchline, the reason it comes got to be, worthwhile. It's got to be timely. It's got to fit the moment. You got to know how, if you're going to be a speaker that doesn't depend on speaking fees, you have to become a great marketer now.
Amen to that. Now, recently you did a quote unquote publicity stunt. I saw you say, yeah, you could probably buy my jet for $6 million. You could probably get my condo for $2 million. I almost texted you, Grant, I want to buy the condo. Okay. But then I saw that this whole thing turned out to be a publicity stunt. Talk about that. And what do you think that the ramifications of that was for your brand?
Yeah. So number one, let me just tell you that if you go back and watch the video, it was not a stunt. It was me on an Instagram live. Some guy in the Instagram live said, Grant Cardone's going bankrupt. This was after the economy. Like, you know, it's like, that's not a funny thing to say to somebody when the economy's crashed. There's 30 million people laid off from work. There's companies going out of business. Carnival Cruise Lines has been sidelined. Hilton Hotel is 85% vacant. The airlines are 75% empty. They canceled 75% of their flights. The 25% that they're still flying, most of those are empty. And so this kid on Instagram says, Grant Cardone's going bankrupt. And my guy Jared was in the room. I'm like, yeah, Jared, did you hear the story? I'm going bankrupt. You probably be able to buy the jet for $6 million, the condos for $2 or $3 million. The portfolio, the real estate portfolio, 7,700 units. They were worth $1.7 billion yesterday. You could probably buy them for 10 cents on the dollar. We're sitting there laughing about it. And prior to this, I had been talking about, like, with COVID and mask and N95 and people dying and hospitals and Trump on TV every day and, you know, borrowing, you know, $6 trillion in literally the period of, like, we borrowed more money in March than the entire value of Bitcoin combined. And with all this bad news, I was telling Jared, I said, you know, I'd have to do something crazy to get the attention of the world. At the same time, this kid says this bankruptcy thing, I go with it. The next thing you know, man, my damn channels blew up. Okay. Every person has ever wanted to see Grant Cardone fail, or for that fact, because I'm an easy guy to not like, right? I'm loud, you know, I showed a plane off. I'm like, look what I got. And, you know, we've had 50 million people go through our university. I mean, I've done some very successful things, and I tell people about it. Because if I don't tell people about it, Clint, as you know, ain't nobody going to talk about it.
I want you to know I've always liked you. Always.
Yeah. So, you know, Kevin Hart's on stage with me. Travolta's there. I'm dropping names now. Mayweather's out there. Me and Floyd out there pumping, bumping. And so people, you know, I can be a person that you don't like. I tell people they don't make enough money. I tell people they're doing the wrong things with money. I tell people it's foolish to go to college and spend 5 years there. I did it. I think it's stupid. So I'm very opinionated. So the next thing you know, everybody that does not like me, or maybe, you know, they have some kind of like, I want to be him, but I can't be him. So, you know, I'd love to have my own plane. I'm sick of watching him fly his. You know, those people came out of the woodworks, dude. Like, I had no clue how much clickbaiting was a strategy and how important it is. You know, I did not know until 3 weeks ago, I guess, when we did this, I did not know how important likes and comments and subscribers are to people. Because I have people that I've invited on my stage that went for this. And they turned, man. They went ugly. And people started posting videos of me, 3 and 4 and 5 videos. Grant Cardone's failing. Grant Cardone's going bankrupt. Wow. Grant Cardone's jets for sale. I got an offer the next day, a FedEx package of an offer on my condo. By the way, if you go back and watch that video, I say in there, by the way, guys, I'm having to give up the kids and the wife. It all goes. And then I say at the end, and first I start by saying, yeah, it's true, I'm going bankrupt. And then at the end of the video, I'm like, by the way, I need a good bankruptcy lawyer. Like, well, okay, well, which one's true, right? So the next day I came out and told everybody, like, guys, I'm not going bankrupt. I have enough money.
Prayed for you. My wife prayed for you. She really seriously. And you know, you got to understand.
Did she really do? Did your wife really?
Really, my wife took it seriously. She sent you a direct message on Facebook, in your Facebook Messenger, with prayer handles. Her name is Allison Savage, and, you know, with prayer hands. And and now she feels kind of betrayed. Honestly, she feels like, like what? Like, can I trust Grant anymore if he's gonna not?
Yeah. I don't think, if I was talking to Allison right here, I don't think if she goes back and watches that video,
Yeah.
I don't think she feels betrayed by me. I think that somebody did in one of their videos that I somehow betrayed her. Because I didn't betray anybody. If you go back and listen to that video, I'm sitting there snickering about this. My guy's sitting there laughing about it, right? And the next day I came out and said, hey guys, yesterday I was doing this video. I was telling Jared, just exact same story I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
I would have to literally go out and kill somebody today to trend on Google. We were the top 3 trending. I was one of the top 3 trending names on Google, all of Google. We're like nationwide. Like it's impossible to do that, right? I wish I could tell you this was like a marketing genius move, because some people said that, by the way. Some people said Grant Cardone is a marketing genius. I wish I could take credit for it, that I'm that smart. That this was not a marketing ploy. It was not some strategy. It was not planned. Tell Allison I appreciate her prayers. I'm sorry that she feels, somehow betrayed by me. And hey, look, if I was going to string it out, Clint, why would I come back on the next day and do it less than 24 hours? Why wouldn't I just play it out for 3 or 4, a week or so?
Cardone is a marketing genius. Okay. Now what you're saying, you kind of lucked into this one, but you are a marketing genius. And my last question for you, because I respect your time, and I know you set up for 30 minutes.
But let's just talk about the marketing genius thing, because I'm gonna tell and this is why I agreed to be on your show today. 1, I like you, and number 2, now that Allison praying for me, I'm all good. But the other part is the marketing thing. Look, speakers need to learn how to become marketers. Speakers have to learn. Coaches, authors, you guys. My first book, Sell or Be Sold, I wrote that book in 3 hours, had it on a shelf. We made money in the first 30 days in that book, and it's never been published. You guys that are writing books, you got to learn how to sell books and market books, because the publisher's not going to do it for you. They have no clue how to sell a book today.
That was going to be my last question, is what's your advice for people who write books about how to sell lots of books?
Dude, you don't need to write the book. You need to sell the book. You need to market the book. Spend as much time on the sales and marketing as the writing.
More.
I wrote my first book in 3 hours, okay? 3 hours. It took me 50 years to write it, but once I decided I'm writing it, I started at 1 o'clock. It was done at 4, and we were selling it the next morning. And it took too long to sell it. I'll tell you another story here in a second. That book was filled with grammar errors. It was I didn't have 3 editors go over that book. It had hundreds of misspelled words. Okay. I took the book, we self-published, and then I went and started selling it door to door in 2008. How many authors do that?
Not a lot.
None of them do it. None of them. Most guys write a book. They spend freaking years writing the book, and then they're lucky if they sell 25 books. They end up with more in their garage, and they think it's a calling card. It's not a calling card if nobody sees it. So I would tell people, like, you have to become a marketing genius today. You have to become not a great author. You have to become a marketing genius. A guy wrote me and said, hey, I read your book, Sell or Be Sold, man. There's misspelled words everywhere. By that time, it hit the bestsellers list organically. And I said, bro, it don't matter how many misspelled words are in the book. It's a best-selling book, not a best-written book.
That's what Kiyosaki says. He goes, I'm not the best writing author. I'm the best-selling author. Rich Dad says that. All right, so.
Yeah, and Kiyosaki, you know what he should have done? Now, there's another example. He should have spent more time buying real estate than educating people on it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I get it.
Like you guys out there that are experts, man. I mean, there's a big price to pay with being the expert.
Let's talk about your lifestyle for a quick sec, okay?
Okay.
Seems like you got a great family. It seems like you enjoy yourself, that you travel the world, and you're living a great life. How important do you think that is to the marketing of Grant Cardone?
Well, it is important, but it's not duplicatable. Like the jet and flying into Dubai and all that's sexy, but it's not, you can't scale that. So I would throw all that away. I don't think, I mean, has this added some value? Probably, but but it's not something you can do every day. I can't do it every day. I can't be on the plane every day. And even if you did it every day, it's going to get old to people. You have to stay relevant today. And you don't need a jet to do that. You don't need to be on stage with Kevin Hart. You don't have to do events with 35,000 people. Most people can't do that. Like, go start with 35 people. I remember I heard, it was 2010, and I was trying to figure out, I was writing the 10X rule at the time, which is the book I'm probably best known for. And I remember hearing in my car, I was driving down Sunset Boulevard in LA, and I heard Jeff Foxworthy being interviewed, and he said no one knew him until he had done, he's the redneck comedian. No one knew him until he had done 700 radio interviews 2 years in a row. That no one recognized Jeff Foxworthy's name. And I was like, click, what the hell have you been thinking, Cardone? Bro, you do one interview on Fox and you think that's a big deal. It's nothing. You do one speaking engagement once a month and nobody knows you. And it was literally that thing that I heard from a comedian that had nothing to do with my business or my space. And I'm like, oh, wow, nobody knows you. And so if nobody knows you, nobody flows you. Best product, best speaker, best company never wins, ever. The best never beats the best known. So the authors, the speakers, your audience out there, you guys want to, if you want to win, okay, you have to become the best known in your space. You don't have to be the best speaker with the best story, with the best hook, with the best come on, but you do need to be the best known.
Perfect. Grant Cardone, so appreciate your time and so appreciate you for being who you are and the inspiration that you are for all of us celebrity entrepreneurs. I'm telling you, man, you're a true inspiration and you got to keep doing the Lord's work that you do. Thank you so much for being our guest here on The Greatest Show of All Time.
You give Allison my love, all right, buddy? I really appreciate that story that you shared with me.
Will do. Okay, and our best to Elena, and have a great day. Thank you so much, Grant Cardone.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
All right. That's going to wrap it up here on The Greatest Show of All Time. Good night, everybody.
The greatest show of all time.